Yeah, right.
Sure.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's Jared and Parker, and we're here with the Obscure Angle. Today we're going to be talking a little bit on just kind of what it feels like to have a void. So, Parker, if you want to start out, bro.
Yeah, so I guess just kind of talking about looking at just what some voids are, right?
All
You
right.
got whether it be loneliness, wanting financial abundance, feeling, I'm trying to think of some other ones too, just feeling sad in general.
Yeah, emotions for sure.
Emotions, yeah, emotions. Feeling angry, right?
Right.
What are some other voids you can think of? Not feeling enough?
Um, Isolated. Maybe falling short from your morals, maybe your passions. I feel like that can cause a void. Um, Sometimes changing a way that you take care of yourself, I think, is a big factor in having a void in your life.
Have you ever noticed that not doing your current passions gives you a void ever?
Yeah, I feel like if you kind of put the things that are helping you to the side, maybe you think for a minute, maybe I don't need those things. Later, you come back in life and find out that you do need those things. So I think that could be a good definition of avoid.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, that was actually one of the things that a financial expert told me is he said to me that whenever you see something you like on the internet, don't buy it yet, wait 5 days and then see if you really want it, right? Because sometimes you just, I think you were talking the other day that you said that sometimes you just buy random stuff to, I think, making it think
Yeah,
it's going to fulfill you, right? You ever done that?
right.
Because I've done that before, totally,
Yeah,
buy
and
for no
I think
reason.
it's good to treat yourself, but like there's also like you got to remember like you got bills and things to take care of. So I feel like getting your morals in check is going to help with that void. Like if you save up towards something or you work hard towards something, then you can fill that void in a sense, Just don't go right after it right away, That can also cause another void in its own sense.
Yeah, no, I do like that for sure. Yeah, so what have been like, just kind of tell me I'll tell you my experience right after you tell me yours, but just tell me your experience with what does it feel like to try to chase a void? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Sometimes when you're chasing, I feel like, you get like a wall block and whether it has to do with the way you go about it or not. I think it can also, if you don't come in there with confidence, a lot of times, in your life, ego can play a factor. But the things that cause these voids, I feel like, is more of just kind of self drive. If you're not feeling 100% there with it, it's typically not going to go in your favor. And that can be an issue to where the wall block becomes pretty much a creation. And trying to go around it can really kind of almost make you feel like you're desperate in a sense to fill that void. But sometimes there's not even an answer to it, really. You just let it play out, I feel like.
No, I definitely have felt that before. With me personally, whenever I tried to fill a void in my life, right?
Yeah.
Some things that I've noticed that somehow I feel like I dig myself into a deeper hole
Yeah.
and I might be going in the wrong direction to try to fill that void.
Right.
Getting too obsessed over it is probably the worst thing I think you can do.
Yeah. It becomes like an addiction in a sense, whether it could be anything, honestly. Maybe I feel like if you don't work hard in life, you're going to cause a lot of voids, and if you change the things that are working in your favor, sometimes we feel like we need change, but sometimes change can be bad as well, so we have to look at every factor, you know?
That is a good point. That just kind of made something to come to mind for me real quick. Sometimes what I've noticed when I'm kind of like looking at the past and I used to think to myself, gosh, why wasn't I able to get what I wanted back then? I realized if I had gotten what I wanted back then, I wouldn't have been on like the path to find my true self.
Right.
What I mean, right? Like, because then I would
Yeah.
have kind of had kind of almost, I would have felt a little too content, and then I
Yeah.
wouldn't have really taken that journey into, inner space.
Right.
And, and that for me, that looks like meditation,
Yeah.
yoga, positivity, whatever it
Yeah.
may kind of be, you know what I mean? Just stuff like that. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
I
kind
feel
of what
like
I've
we
noticed. Have you
definitely,
kind of noticed the same thing too? Have you ever realized like you look back at life and you wanted something so bad back then, but now it's like you look at yourself and you're like, wow, I look really stupid for really wanting that the
want.
way I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, it's kind of crazy because sometimes I feel like we're always chasing for this thing called change, and there's just such a positive and negative aspect to both of it. Like, it's really on is it gonna fulfill you really at the end of the day? That's what you really have to look at because if it's not, then that void is only going to become bigger and not smaller. You want that void to pretty much kind of almost decrease to a point to where you go as long as you can without it, but the void always comes back. This is part of human nature. When we feel like
Mhm.
maybe we're doing something wrong in life or not doing enough for ourselves.
Yeah, no. Do you think that you yourself have ever found certain things that have helped you, and they could be positive or negative, right? But
Hmm.
things that you've replaced to kind of help kind of fill those voids a little bit. And sometimes people go to bad things, right? Like that could be like it look like drug addiction or whatever it may be, but could also be
Yeah,
things too where people have actually helped fill those voids. I know you kind of got into skateboarding for a little bit, so that could kind of be something.
yeah,
Maybe going for a walk. What
right.
are some things that you personally have done to fill a void?
Well, I noticed writing, kind of journaling. I do it through my phone. I have like a little app, and I write thoughts down and things that might be going through my head. Sometimes there might be a rhyme or two, and then I turn it into something, a story of its own. It could be based off of just my experience of the day. It could be negative, positive. Really, it's kind of. I think it's good journaling, because it kind of helps you go back in time a little bit and kind of fix your wrongs, or it can help you in the moment. But skateboarding was one thing this year that I actually didn't do, and I did last
Yeah,
year, and that could be a void right there that I'm missing. If you want to talk on maybe one of your
yes,
things that maybe you changed recently, that could be
absolutely.
your void.
So, absolutely. So, I was kind of feeling there was partially like a part of me that felt pretty empty. I think say probably as of lately. I don't know. I just kind of fell off the track a little bit. But today was actually like the first time that I actually sat down and meditated in months. And let me tell you, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I don't know how much benefit it's actually going to give me, but when I did it today, I was like, wow, okay, I've been missing out for so much time, and I'm so glad
Yeah,
I got back into it, you know?
yeah. I
Well,
I, I really
I think
think
discipline helps the void too, because I think sometimes that we there's things that I think sometimes we don't want to actually do what we know we're supposed to do to help fill
yeah.
those voids. But when we do and we stay consistent with it, then
All right.
we're gonna feel pretty fulfilled.
Well, I feel too like scheduling, like kind of scheduling your day out and just if it go, sometimes it doesn't always, sometimes things will change, but that can also help, with filling the void. If you say you're going to do something, I feel like sometimes you just need to commit, regardless of how you're feeling inside. Like maybe, okay, I'm not feeling like going to the gym today, but I haven't been in a couple of days. Well, guess what? You should
Mhm.
probably go because that void is only going to become stronger as a it's almost like an entity, like it comes at you in different directions, and you're constantly trying to bring it to another like place, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think meditation is really good. It's a smart move because it helps you just kind of relax the mind and your thoughts kind of start to get free in a sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's one of those things that you really underestimate the true benefits.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Uh,
Right.
yeah, so I guess let's just kind of talk a little bit. We don't get too personal, but just let's kind of talk about like how you've been feeling lately with voids. Do you feel like you personally have some voids right now? I mean, I guess everybody might have something in life that's kind of a void. Maybe they don't realize it, but that's also a good thing that maybe you don't realize you have that void.
Yeah, lately, I think my diet has kind of been a factor. I sometimes eat healthy and then I just go right off track, and it's like, what am I doing? I just lost 4 pounds, and I'm on this journey of losing weight, and then I go back and just gain it all for, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's muscle or what it is, but it's like at the same time, it's like I'm trying to lose weight, and it's just like every day, it's like 1 pound or half a pound, and it's kind of like it kind of messes with me because it's like, what am I doing wrong? I'm working out 10 times harder, or I'm being here longer, and then I still am not reaching that goal. It's like there's always something that you could be doing better to help fulfill that. I feel like, so that's where I'm going wrong a little bit in my life, and then also my brain and how it's thinking. Like, it's constantly, I don't know. It's like I'm not content with life. I don't know what it is. Like, it's hard to explain the void that I'm going through, because it's like, the thing that I feel like I'm missing isn't really something that I need, if that makes sense.
Mhm. No, that makes sense. I
So,
would say that that's actually one of the things that I feel like I've actually been able to fulfill because for like the
right.
past year, I've had the worst brain fog you can probably imagine. I'm just constantly tired. And then when I switched over to
Mhm.
carnivore diet, so only eating meat, salt,
Right.
eggs, and drinking water, that has really helped me in my life. So I have realized that nutrition is something that's really beneficial. And
Right.
everybody has certain things that work for them. That's just what works for me. But I've noticed that I have so
Yeah.
much more energy, so much more clarity. I sleep so much better, and I simply feel amazing.
Yeah.
But some of the voids though that I guess I would say is probably of lately would probably have to be a little bit. I would say that I definitely need because I'm really big into longevity, so I was
Right.
reading in the book about longevity that one of the biggest key aspects of it though is actually also having a social life.
Yeah.
So not being social and stuff like that is actually slowly harming you. So that's one thing that I haven't been able to do at all. And I guess I probably need to just get out there more
Yeah.
and be more
Yeah. That can be a
confident,
big one.
That'd be something that would be good.
Right. Well, definitely, like going up to just somebody and saying hi, or opening a door for somebody, something that maybe you don't always do. It could fill a void. I feel like,
Yes, making other people
you
happy.
know, like, I think I might have brought this up last topic, but there was a couple of weeks back, there's this kind of bigger lady or so forth that was coming in the gym, and it was just like nobody ever opens a door for her, you know what I mean? And I've noticed it. And the one day that I opened a door for her, she smiled. So you can change somebody's aspect of life by just being good to somebody. Like, if you're constantly going to look at life negatively, and obviously it's okay to, you know what I mean? But at some point you have to put that blocking point up and say, all right, hey, I opened a door for that person. Why don't I do it for this person? You know what I mean? Instead of just closing the door on that person and leaving them kind of in the dark while they're trying to fix their voids. You know what I mean? Helping boost people's energy levels, I feel like, can really change the frequency on both ends, and can actually benefit you in the long run.
Yes, you definitely do benefit. Yeah, that's one of the things that I realized too is whenever people have been kind to me, nice to me, helping me out, I've noticed that has made me that has made me realize, wow, okay, not everybody is out there in this world to get me or thinks of me as
Yeah.
nothing. It makes you feel a little bit special. So that's why I think helping other people, like you said, is great because then it will come back to you. And when you do help people, you're actually helping yourself because it does feel good to help people because people give you that nice energy back.
Yeah, yeah.
Not all the
And
time, but
sometimes,
most of the time they do.
Yeah, well, and sometimes too, it's kind of like you almost have to sometimes do it and like lead it, don't be a follower, you know what I mean? Like I think that's one thing that we all kind of struggle with in life is we're always constantly following, and we're not leading. If we take lead, sometimes the person will follow in the right direction. So for what I did that day, was me taking lead instead of waiting for somebody else to do it. You know what I mean? Like I benefited from it. So I feel like sometimes in life, we have to worry about ourselves first before we worry about others, but also we have to remember to be kinder to others because in the long run, it's also going to help us with whatever our flaws are because everybody has flaws. You got flaws, I got flaws, everybody who's watching this or is going to stay tuned have flaws in themselves that they have to work on. So being better to one another is really the key factor to this, I feel.
No, that is true. You definitely have to be in a place to actually help people out. That's kind of thing too. I mean, not necessarily in a sense. I mean, you can help people out and not have much in life, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like doing it like willfully and like being like really happy about it, I think you have to be kind of somewhat well off yourself because then it
Yeah.
just comes so much easier, you know? I mean, that's like, I mean, if a homeless person um were to try to like, do some community service or something like that, he's not going to really enjoy it because he knows that he needs to actually be helping himself in that moment. He's the one that actually needs help, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, sometimes what we want in life or in our needs, we have to remember that our wants should always come later and our needs should always come first because if that's how we go about life and it's just, oh, I want this, I want that, you're never going to benefit in life because once you get it, it's never going to be enough. So if you kind of turn your needs, like the things that are going to benefit you, I feel like that's going to play a serious role in filling that void. Like you really have to work on that because, it's a constant struggle though. There's really no way to go about it. It's all on you, I feel like, at the end of the day.
No, I definitely do like that for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
so voids are pretty they definitely have they definitely have different feelings for everyone, that's for sure. And I do like that point. So I guess
Yeah.
just kind of going off, have you ever noticed what it was like? Have you ever noticed someone else fill their voids and then and what did that kind of do to them in the long run? Have you ever noticed that before? It could be like just like a celebrity or something like that. Or
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, in the music world, for instance, they might drop an album and it's horrible, and then they decide to make another album and it's good. You know what I mean? Like you're
Mhm.
constantly trying to better yourself, but you're also making mistakes while you're doing it because this is part of life. This is a fundamental. You are not going to do everything right. Kind of off our last discussion, everything feels somewhat programmed. Sometimes going off of life and not making it so much programmed, just going off of whatever your mind tells you, can really just kind of help others in a sense, I feel like. And not only that, but help yourself. You shouldn't have to go about everything a certain way, just kind of be yourself. That can fill a void in so many ways.
That's true. Yeah, no, I have definitely have seen people try to fill voids and stuff like that. I've seen people actually fill voids themselves, and it's just kind of like anything, you know what I mean? It's almost like this whole star just lit up for them, but it
All
just
right.
seemed to me like it was just so temporary. So, when it comes to voids, and see that's the thing too, is I think you'll probably learn later on in life, because I'm sure, me and you have voids, but I think whenever we think we fill them, I think we'll
Yeah.
we'll learn that only we can actually fill our voids. It's up to us, and we have to take responsibility for that for sure.
All right.
What's your
Yeah.
kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it, it's kind of a working development. You know what I mean? And I feel like it kind of goes back to the aspects, where the way that we look at life, right? There's always going to be good and bad in this world, right? But at the end of the day, you have to want good in your life. I feel like, sometimes when you're chasing it though, bad thoughts can come into play. Also feel that filling that void in a sense can lead you in a direction that can better yourself, and then you can also take initiative as far as being able to better others. But you should always come first. At the end of the day, you have to weigh out the bad energy. Anything that's bad in your life, you have to weigh that out for you to grow and learn from that aspect. If you're constantly just around negative people, they're gonna fill that void so bad to the point where there's no way out of it. So if it means taking somebody out of your life that might be harming you, I think is going to really play a big factor in how you're going to be able to fix yourself.
I definitely like that. Yeah, that's one of the things I think too and stuff. And I think sometimes we may get a little bit we might think that we have to bring certain people back into our lives because that's considered true forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's really not what it is. I mean, true forgiveness is just letting go of it and moving on. I mean, there's plenty of people that I notice it's like I just can't bring them back in. I can't explain why, but I simply can just not have them be a part of my life. I don't want them a part of my life, and I do wish them the best though. You know, you feel the same way?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's good. Yeah, I think it's good because um we can't fix them. You know what I mean? That's what I say. Like you always have to take care of yourself at the end of the day, and maybe they can better themselves by you distancing yourself or just completely deading it, because why leave negative energy in your life when you already have it consumed by you? You get what I'm saying? Like the more of it, the less likely you are to succeed in whatever you're trying to fulfill in life, because whatever their flaws are, the only way for it to get better is maybe for you to be out of their life as well. You know what I mean? It's not always constantly trying to fix things. It's not always the answer. It's sometimes just letting it be and not searching for the answers of why this, why that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think for my closing thoughts on this, I think I would have to say the biggest thing when it comes to voids is you have to basically kind of bury them a little bit. You have to basically kind of recognize that they're not actually real and that it's more of an illusion. And you have to do just what works for you. And you have to kind of go back to kind of sit there, take some time and reflect on when was a time that you felt like you didn't have a void. And then you want to kind of try to match that energy in life, because you can match that. You can match any energy at any time in life. You don't need anybody in life to raise your energy up to where you want it to be, right? So
Exactly.
that's kind of like my closing thoughts on that. What are your closing thoughts, Jared?
So my closing thoughts is just be better to yourself, but also remember that you're still gonna have flaws while you're on that journey, and just try to figure out what it is that void is, and then figure out what is working in your life, and then take away whatever's not working in your life. Get rid of that, and I feel you can fulfill that void at the end of the day.
That's good. All right, everyone. We're
We're
out.
out, yo. Peace.